Hello guys, how is everyone doing? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please say so in the chat room. Eric Gonkulia. The rest, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just let me know in the chat box. Afasha man from Wakanda. Afasha, how are you? Fantastic. All right. The rest will find us because it's almost 10 minutes past and we just have to start. From the previous session, we had talked about a lot of things, conditionals, loops, blah, blah, basically the basics of what we need to start off on our journey. And I'd also left with a small assignment that most of you didn't do or didn't submit, and I don't know what reasons you have. Simon, don't worry about your microphone. In case you want anything, you just put it in the chat, and we start off there. Yeah. So basically, I remember last time I posted in the chat box on WhatsApp that about some bug we had encountered last time. Yeah. This bug here, with regards to, we used insert instead of append, so our program didn't come out well. Yeah, maybe we can look at that before we continue, because basically we were using the asterisk and we wanted to see how it works. So let me just create a file called bits.py. The function was called let me just let someone in here. Yeah, Davis is in. Yes, hello guys. For those who have just come in, we are just first of all finishing up with this small assignment I had given you, that most of you didn't attempt, and yet it was very, very easy. So someone is trying to answer it right away. Let me check. Afasha says they didn't submit, but they did. Okay, it is fine. Let me pass through it, and then we can go ahead and look at the modules. Yeah. So basically, I think it was, you can call it anything, maybe. Or maybe people are still coming in. They are leaving. Rachel, come back. Okay. Okay, maybe guess my name. Guess my hobbies, something like that. Ken Mugi is in. Ken Mugi, how are you after a long time? Just comment in the chat here. Yeah. All right. So basically the method was taking in a variable number of arguments, a variable number of position arguments, and that's why we're using this asterisk here. If at all there are two asterisks, then it takes in a variable number of keyword arguments. Then we initialized a list called my hobbies that was empty. Then we looked through this list, hobby in hobbies. Then we are instead, if at all we were to use insert, we had to both put the index or the hobby itself, just like that. But since we want to insert it at the end, let's just use append. Then when this all is done, we print the hobbies themselves. Then down here we are calling the what? We're calling the function. Yes, my hobbies. Then comma separated strings, maybe swimming. Then we have cycling. Don't mind the spelling, yeah, but let me increase on this font. Last time, okay. So running this should give us exactly. So this is what I was looking for. In that, because of this asterisk, you don't have to specify the number of arguments you want to pass into the function from the start, because this will ensure that any variable number, even if it's one argument, it passes, and actually this accepts a tuple. Yeah, just like they are saying here that hobbies is a tuple. Yeah. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah, Edupu is saying the font size is kind of small. That's why I've increased. I hope now everything is okay, Edupu. Yeah, I've increased the font. Yeah, and make sure you keep those questions coming just in case. All right. Yeah, so moving on to today, we shall be using again the Python tutorial. The official Python tutorial we were using last time, and we shall be on the section of modules. I'll try to share the link in the description. Yes, so this is the link. Yeah, that is. I put the link here just in case you need to access it very fast. Yeah, but so basically modules, actually the module is it's just this name without the what, without the .py extension, right? Yeah, that is what the module is. And so this file here, and modules help us just to write better code and kind of like do some separation of concerns, because everything will be neat in an organized fashion. So, and when modules become since the programs will be kind of like into small chunks, yeah, so at some point you might have to import one program into the other and such stuff. Yeah, okay, actually just like this function here, this function here, we can create another file here and maybe call it today.py. yeah, so inside this, if we just say if we just say import bits without the extension, so we are importing the module. If at all we try to say type of bits, and we save and we try to run this, let's see. There was an issue here. Okay, yeah, moving on. Someone says they have UMEME issues, I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, let's try to print this. We print this. We shall have, yeah, you see it is actually saying that bits is a module, right? Yeah, so basically this is what we wanted to see, and this is one form of importing. Yeah, so and when modules are very many and they're in a folder, and that folder, it's kind of like called a package, but the only thing that makes it a package also is that underscore init dot underscore dot py that can be empty or all can contain stuff, but basically a collection of modules will give you a package. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you very well notice that when we imported it, when we imported this module in the when we imported this module in another module called today.py, this function gets my hobbies ran by default, and sometimes this is the intended case, sometimes it's not the intended case. Yeah, and but now supposing we didn't want to run it from here. One option we would have done is to put in any function or kind of like some checks and balances. Actually, we can use an if statement, because right now we can say there is some inbuilt names now, like the underscore. Usually it's called danda attributes. Yeah, now like this one kind of like stores the name of the module. If at all we are running this file now, if at all we are running bits.py, this name will be equal to danda main. Though this is a string, this should be a string. Yeah, but if at all it's being run in another file, then it will be equal to the name of this module, just like you saw here. When you try to no, we didn't do it here, but we can try to print we can try to print bits dot name, and you see what it gives us. Yeah, it gives us bits. Yeah, so basically now assuming we are running this file, but we only want to run this when this file is being run, when the script is being run directly. So we can say if name is this, then we can decide to run this. Yeah, because actually when you try to print the value of name inside here, Kenneth is asking whether in Python we export. No. In Python we don't export, we just import. Yeah, we just import. It's only in JavaScript that you have to export at the, I think at the end. Yeah. So Python we just import. So let me try to print this, and let me try to run this file. So when I run the bits.py file, when I try to run the bits.py file here, this function should run. This function should run, and it is saying actually the value of the name attribute is danda main. But if at all I try to run the today.py now, you see now it only runs what is inside here. It doesn't run it doesn't run this whole script, because last time importing actually ran the whole script, but now at least there are some checks and balances that have been put. So now it is actually working the way we want to have it working. All right. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. All right. There is also some other concept I don't want to miss before we go any further. There is something called a shebang. There is something called a shebang, and an example, it's like a comment, but it's always at the topmost of the file. It starts with a hash, and then a full colon, and then with kind of like a link to where Python is. Exactly. So basically, when you see this line here with the hash and the full colon, and then the full path of the location of the Python system of the Python installation on your machine, it will help in case you want to run this script outside this environment, whereby whenever you run this script, this will actually let you know which version of Python should be used to interpret this script. And for Windows, you guys might have to do some googling on where to get it, but for Linux, you use the command, you use the terminal. I think you type -a, then Python, something like that. So you type in this, so this is what I'm talking about. But you'll go in your terminal. For those who have either MacBook or Linux, you just type in this terminal. Now, like for me, I have I have both Python 2. I have Python 3. I think I have Python 3.8 or so. Then I also have Python 3.9. And actually, if you're very conversant, I'm using the interpreter for Python 3.9. So this shebang will actually help the system determine the type of interpreter to use to do what, to work with this script. Then afterwards, you'll have to change this script into an executable, and you can run it wherever you want. But this was just a by the way before I forgot. All right. Okay, so moving on to modules. This was one approach of how we can import, but sometimes you'll find them using a prefix of from maybe bits import. If at all maybe you want it only import the function itself here, this one, guess my hobbies, then you'll have to say guess my hobbies, just like that. So here you can actually access it directly from here without the dot notation. Okay, let me also put this one, and I'll comment out each. Let me just import bits. So let's first use this old one, the one we have been using. So if at all we want to call the function, we'll use bits dot guess. We use this dot notation, and then we kind of like run this. Let me try to just copy. Let me just try to put something, and then I save. Yeah, you'll see that it actually worked. Yeah, but if at all you want to use this alternative here, which usually people use instead of importing the whole module, sometimes they import components of the module, and so when you use this, then the function is directly accessible in in this namespace, and you can go ahead and run it, and it will give you the same issues. Yeah, you see on line 3, since we commented out this, so let's also comment out this, and also so it's working as anticipated. So Maureen is asking whether, does that mean that any file with a .py extension is a module? Yes, any file with a .py extension is a module, but the module name is the name without the .py extension. So bits.py, bits is the is the module. Today.py, today is the name of the module. And like I said, if at all you want to get to know the action name of the module, you just output this attribute of danda name danda. Yeah, this one. Danda for DAO underscore. Yeah. So it will actually give you the same name. But the value will depend on whether you're calling the script, you're calling the actual script, or you're calling the imported script. Yeah. There will be some scenarios. So the two values are either it can have the danda main as a string for the value of this, or it can have the actual name of the module, and that's why we used this analogy to try to open up, to try to make sure this runs when this condition is fulfilled. All right. The other option would be now when you're importing, sometimes this name may be very, very long. Guess my hobbies. There is a keyword called as, and you can give it a shorter name you want, and that shorter name is the one that will be referred to in the due course of this module, maybe as just hobbies. Yeah. So anyway, now you have seen this, you'll have to remove this and just save and get to this. Yeah. So it's still the same approach. Yeah. So moving on. Okay, moving on. There is another method called the dir. Now, if at all we try to use it here, dir, it will kind of like help us, give us details about now let me first re-import this. Okay, let's just put in the hobbies here, the hobbies, and then of course I'll print this. Yeah, you see the dir actually tries to bring out all the attributes that are on this object you have that you have put inside here. Now, like of course hobbies now points actually to a function, and it brings out all the all the attributes you can call on it. Yeah, so this is very important for both the inbuilt inbuilt attributes, and also for the ones that the users have made. Now, like an example would be the str for the strings, and it will try to output all the attributes that you can use on a string. Yeah. So these are kind of like some handy tools when you're debugging that you could get accustomed to. Yeah. And okay, moving on. If I told you don't have any questions on modules, you can go to packages. Basically, packages, I could say they are a collection of. All right. JB has just come in. Yeah, I was saying packages are just a collection of modules. It's a directory, of course, and the init.py is actually the file that actually signifies to the interpreter that this is this is a package. Now, like for this case, we have the main folder here called sound, and it has this underscore init underscore.py that actually initializes the package, and then inside here we have other sub packages. Yeah, now like format is also a package, so formats is a package in a package, and effects. Yeah, so the main package is sound, and then these are the ones: formats, effects, and filters. They're also sub packages, just like they say here. And they're saying that the init.py file is required to make Python treat these directories as packages. You'll see more of these packages as we go on, but you'll realize that both the imports are kind of like interchangeably used. Yeah. Then there is an issue of importing all. When you import with this asterisk, it kind of like sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad, because it kind of like tries to import everything. Yeah, and when everything is imported, yeah, there is a higher chance that there will be clashes in the naming, because you may import something that has a similar name as the variable that maybe you try to create, and this may kind of like cause some conflicts here and there. Yeah, but in a nutshell, that is all I could say about modules and packages. Yeah, but we shall see most of them in Django, because actually today I want us to at least to start with Django and try to at least install it and see how it works. Yeah, that is my aim today. But if at all you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask me there. Also, maybe one thing I'd failed to maybe forgot to mention, everything in Python is an object. Everything you see is actually an object. Yeah, so, and of course, objects, since it's an object, that means it has they have attributes, and some of those attributes are methods. Yeah, so everything you can use dot notation with it. And all right. Another thing we can talk about is scopes. I think you people with JavaScript, you have worked a lot with scope. I think even there is a local scope, there is block level scope, then there are very many scopes in JavaScript I don't know about. Yeah, but in Python usually we have four kinds of scopes. There is the local scope for inside the functions. Then we have the enclosing scope. For you people who have worked with the higher order functions, a function in a function. Then there is the global scope for the module. And if at all we are to look at our function here. Now my hobbies, the one defined here. This one is in the local scope. Yeah, this one is in the local scope. If at all I define maybe a name here, and I say Jane. This one is in the global scope of the module. Then there are some inbuilt scopes. Now, like name here, name is in the inbuilt scope because we don't create it. It's found. It is created by the language when we run a script. Yeah. So basically, like I said, there are four scopes: local, enclosing, global, and inbuilt. And we shall see these ones again as we move on. All right, now let's try to look at classes before we can try to dive into some Django. And basically, classes it's the same thing like the other languages. We have maybe let me create a class called Python. person.py. Yeah, with class, of course, we have that we have the class keyword, and class usually they start with a what? The name start with a capital letter, and also person. The class itself, actually it's an object. Like I said, everything in Python is an object, and this object, this class can actually be empty by us just putting the person. Then we can create maybe a variable, an instance of this class. So we can say person. So this is already an instance of the class, and we can actually print out the type. We can print out the type of this person. Yeah, and let's see what we get. Let me first clear this. So yeah, so yeah, you already see it comes with it already says that it's an instance of the of the person class. Yeah, exactly what we wanted. Yeah. Then at some point we may want maybe our person to, of course, a person usually at least they have two legs and they have two hands. So we can try to kind of like create an init method here. Init method, and you very well know now in every method in the class, if it's an instance method, it will have the self. This is similar to this keyword in Python, and it kind of and this init method helps us to configure objects with some initial values. Now we can say maybe we can have legs, maybe hands. Yeah, I'm just trying to think out loud. Let me first remove this pass. Okay, then I will say self dot legs is equals to legs. Then I'll have self dot hands is equals to hands, and this can be called anything. They don't necessarily have to be called this. Maybe actually let me just put double S's just to show you that they are different from these. So these actually they are the class the attributes of the person that we are trying to create. Yeah. So we are saying that the person will have an attribute called an instance attribute called legs, and another one called what, hands, and they will be equal to these values that will be inserted while we are creating the object. So when you are creating the object, Afasha is saying that he shared a jam file with the meeting. I don't know what that meant, but make sure I explain down there. But okay, moving on, we are saying okay, the person has we are assuming they have two legs and they have two legs and they have two hands, right? Yeah. Let's see if at all it works out fine, and I think there shouldn't be any errors. Yeah. So basically, more or less, the way you have been handling objects in other languages, they're the same way you're going to be handling them in Python. And sometimes we have things called getters and setters. If at all we want to access these attributes, we want to access these attributes of the object, there is always an ordered way that we usually follow. And maybe we can say get the number of legs. Hope it's not weird. Then of course, since it's an instance method, then it will return self dot legs, the attribute. Yeah. So usually in unorganized, let me say, for best practices, usually instead of accessing these attributes directly from this, because actually you can when you say John dot legs, you can print this out. Yeah. But it's not the best way to do it. Yeah, although it will still work. So let's print. Yeah, exactly. It returned the 2, and if we can use the other approach of John dot. But since this is a what? This is a method. Of course, we call it just like that. Yeah, and we should have 2 on both instances. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, yeah, I'm trying to rush as much as possible. Yeah, but the rest of the issues, the rest of the things we shall see as time goes on. Yeah. Do you have any questions so far with regards to classes and modules that I could answer before we kind of like summarize this topic and try to set up Django? Do you have any questions? You can just put in the chat if at all you have any questions, and before we can try to summarize this topic. properties. Yeah, properties. Maybe how do I make one? You see the way I made self.legs. Yeah, this is a property. Yeah, but it is an instance of the what of the person object. Yeah, just like you see, it is prefixed by self blah blah blah, just like that. Yeah. Afash, have I answered you? Fantastic. All right. So let's try to get into Django. Yeah, but most of the concepts maybe I might have skipped since I've been trying to peruse through. I'll try to explain them better when you're trying to when you're moving into Django. But one thing you should know that at least we have we have enough concepts to kind of like at least get our foot into Django, which yeah, because there are very many other resources that I'll be sharing to make sure you get into more of these concepts. Yeah. All right. So yeah, moving on to Django. Let me try to. Erica told me people wanted Flask instead of Django. Yeah, and I was saying actually Django and Flask they're more or less the same. They're more or less the same, but for Django it's very easy to to hit the ground running. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it, because it has this notion of batteries included. Yeah, and with the notion of batteries included, it's like we do very little work to make sure we get to speed with all this the setup and prototyping. All right, so Avasha, someone is telling you to leave the village if at all you want power. All right, so I'm going to create a new window here, and I'm going to try to create a new directory, and that's where we shall start from. Yeah. So I'm going to create a directory. Let me call it project 1, and I'll cd into that project 1. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so inside project 1, I'll create the virtual environment. I'll try to use Python 3.9, though it is very new. I'll try to use it for this session, and yeah. So after creating the virtual environment, of course, you have to activate it, and yes. So my environment is activated, and I can go ahead and install Django using pip. Those who don't know pip is kind of like pip is the pip and npm do the same thing. Yeah, not so, Eric. Yeah, package manager for installing Python packages or libraries. Yeah, I think it is similar to npm or yarn. Yeah. So if I do a pip freeze, then I'll be able to see everything I've installed Python with. I've installed Django with, and you see it is kind of like the latest version, and usually it's a good practice to make sure you keep track of these packages you have installed in a file called requirements.txt. Yeah, so when you do like that, you kind of like wait, actually let me first open this project into a folder. It's here. Yeah, I think we shall have a better look from this. Yeah, so you can see the requirements.txt. It's a file that has all the packages that have been installed, and this one helps you when it is time to deploy your application, maybe to Heroku, because Heroku will use this list to kind of like reinstall the to redeploy your system on up there, because when you are pushing to Heroku, this virtual environment won't kind of like be included. Yeah, so let me just reactivate my environment again. And
I've already created the proxy, that's why it's not like
wait. Okay. So after installing Django, you'll have to create a project. Yeah, because Django it's kind of like organized into both projects and apps. One big project, very many apps. Yeah, and you'll also realize that there are very many apps that even come with Django. And the notion of apps can be confusing in the beginning, but it kind of like makes things a little bit easier, especially with trying to separate things. Yeah, you separate things, and everything is in its own kind of like contained in its own feature. And the good thing, you can make those apps interact with each other, like we're going to see. But basically, after installing Django, you have to use the command called Django admin start project, and then the name of the project. We're gonna try to follow this tutorial on the Django website, for the polls app. Yeah, so let's try to create so it's Django admin start project, then polls. Polls is the name of the project, and if you see here, it's kind of like it has also created a folder called polls. Yeah, if at all you want to follow this tutorial, I'm going to share the link. I'm going to share the link in our chat room. This is the link to the chat room, to the project, and as I try to explain some of these concepts slowly. Yeah, but so this folder that is created contains another folder inside here that is also has the same name. So this is actually the main project folder, right? And you see it already has an init.py that is empty, which symbolizes that this folder is a what? Is a package. SGI and the WSGI, these ones are the ones that help our app to talk to any server that it supports, maybe an Apache server or blah blah blah. Settings.py, all our settings will be inside here, and urls.py, it's kind of like the table of contents per se. It's the entry of most URLs. That's where the URLs start from. Yeah, okay, Simon. Yeah, you can check it up. And then there is this file called manage.py. Yeah. In the beginning, we used the Django admin to create the project, but it's almost the only time we use the Django admin to do it. WSGI, it's a file. Actually, WSGI is a file that you'll never touch. Yeah, because there is no reason why you should touch it, because it's the file that will enable our app to talk to the server, where it is going to be deployed. Yeah. So WSGI and ASGI, they do the same work, depending on the server on which you are hosting our website. Yeah. So be it an Apache server, I think there is also Nginx, is it? Yeah, Nginx server, yeah. But these two files are responsible for that, to kind of like ascertain the compatibility of that server to this app, yeah. So that it can be able to serve this app, yeah. But don't worry, because we won't touch them. There are some files we never touch. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying this manage.py, it will kind of like take up the role of this Django admin while you're running most of the commands in Django. Yeah. So if at all I'm to kind of like run ls, we are kind of like still outside this folder, so we are going to enter into the first pols directory, that we can be able to interface with the manage.py. So we're gonna do a cd pols, yeah, and then when you say ls, this is the file we are looking at. So all other commands that we shall be running, we shall be using that manage.py file to make sure we run all our commands. Okay, and yeah, maybe before we get started, we can just do some few things in our settings file. Usually what I do now, like down here, there is the time zone. This time zone is set to UTC. I usually change this from UTC to Africa/Kampala. Yeah. If at all you want to change it to another time zone, you can Google. I think there is a Wikipedia page where I got most of this, though I don't remember. But yeah, when you do that, things to do with the times and dates, they will be okay. Yeah. All right. Then I think for now that's all for the settings.py file. Though there is also a list here that starts on line 33 of installed apps. That's why I told you the notion of apps is very, very important in Django, in that it comes with some code that we might or may not use, depending on our preferences. Now, like admin, it comes up with an admin interface that we are going to see. Auth, things to do with authentication. Someone already wrote the code for that. If we want to work with authentication, it is inbuilt. Content types, for various content types, sessions. Now, for people maybe who are kind of like maybe wanted to use Flask, you realize that with the Flask, in most cases, you have to kind of like get your own cocktail of packages or libraries to use to handle most of these. Now, like Auth, sometimes we may use Flask login, then there may be Flask session. Then so things are a little bit you have freedom to use what you want, but I think it's better if at all everything is one place, because most of these are maintained by the core team, yeah, and they're usually up to date. Static files, if at all you want to serve files like for CSS and JavaScript, blah blah blah. So these are the apps, and on these apps we shall include our own apps as we are going to see. For the urls.py, you realize that right now there is only one URL for the admin area, but we shall add our URLs as time goes on. All right. Yeah. So going back to our app, we can try to create our first app. Maybe you can call it survey or something. Yeah. Though I'm trying to follow this tutorial, and here they are calling it, I think they called it something. Yeah. The Abacity. What had gone wrong? Yeah. Okay. So basically, once we enter this into the directory where there is the manage.py, so whichever command we try to run it, we run it like Python manage.py, then the name of the name of the app we want to create. Python manage.py, then start app, and the name of the app maybe I'll call this one surveys. Yeah. So realize it is actually adjacent to the to the polls app. Yeah. Yeah, it is here. It is surveys, and it has a few folders also inside it. Yeah. Migrations are very, very powerful. Those coming from Flask, you know some library called Flask Migrate. The one that was done by Miguel. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of like works with migrations the way we work with them here, but I think they are easier in Django. Yeah. Though some people may beg to differ. And you see, even the migrations folder is a package, but also our app surveys has an ini.py, admin.py. Yeah, admin.py. We shall look at that later, but but usually when we create our models, we shall have to register them into admin.py if at all we want to kind of like work with them instantly. Apps, yeah, apps. This is the configuration file for our apps. We are gonna use it in the next few minutes. Models.py. Yeah. Maybe I forgot to mention that Django is an MVT. Apache is asking whether every app has its own migrations. Yes, actually every app has its own migrations, like we are going to see in the next few minutes. Yeah, because these apps you see here that have come installed, that we saw in the settings.py file, that come from here now, like the admin app, the blah 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 blah. They already have some models, but right now, since there is no database yet, it's only migrations that exists. So we are going to migrate them, and then we'll see how this thing works. Yeah, because the cycle usually it is you write the models, you create you make the migrations, and then you migrate. Yeah, but for these apps that have already come installed, the migrations have already been made. All we need to do is migrate them, and actually migrating them is the actual process of creating the tables in the database, blah 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 blah, all those things. Yeah. So all these apps you see here individually, they have their own migrations that we shall see. Actually, we shall run these migrations before we create our own migrations. Yeah. Like actually now when we reach on this apps file, apps.py, with regards to the surveys, it's actually it's the link that will connect our project to the app. So at some point we shall have to put something like surveys dot apps dot survey config. We shall write that long long string so that it shows that it's the only linkage that we shall have from the project. That's how the project will know about our app called surveys. Models, yeah, I told you for models, Python Django follows the MVT: models, views, and templates. Yeah, with models is the single truth of data for our app. Everything about our data, and they will be the models will be made in terms of classes. Yeah, so we shall see again how to work with classes when we get there. And tests, yeah, you have to do a lot of tests. Yeah, and views will kind of like be the linkage between our models and the template, because the template, that's where we display most of our things. Yeah, all right. Now, like I said, since already for the installed apps, we shall have to migrate them, so we use this command python manage.py migrate, and it will get those, it will get whatever is in, I'm assuming somewhere, somehow in the virtual environment. Yeah, we have an app called admin that has this folder migrations and has a lot of these migrations here. So when you run python manage.py migrate, they will run. Yeah, they will run, and as you see them here, they are all here now. Like here, applying content types, blah blah blah, auth, admin, content types, and you will find that most of these names are similar to the names in the settings.py here. Yeah, so which shows that actually the migrations running are for these apps. And you'll be if you are very careful now, even there is a db.sqlite3 file that has been created. Yeah, if at all we had Postgres installed, then we would have configured it in here, but the default is SQLite 3, but we would have configured in here so that the migrations would have been made in the Postgres database. Yeah, but for now let's use SQLite 3. Yeah, so now that we have finished creating all these migrations, there is someone called a super user that you will have to create, so that and there will be the kind of like the admin user of your app, and they will be able to log into whatever is inside there. Like I said, for Django, we are accessing all these features even before we write a single line of code. Yeah, so creating that super user, we shall again use the python manage.py, and then we say create super user as one word. So it will ask you for the names, your email. Yeah, you can choose to put, or you can leave blank. Then password, you can put anything. Okay. Yeah, they're saying it's short, but I don't care. Let me just say yes, and yeah. So basically, I've created the super user, and you can go ahead and run our app for the first time. Running it, you just say python manage.py run server, and then it will run. Yeah, so it is saying that it is running on port this, and when you use control and click, it should be able to run. Yeah, so that is our app for now. It is running, and if at all we want to access the admin area. Like you see here, if at all, I can take you back to the main urls.py file. It says that the admin area is /admin, so it is this URL you see here /admin. Yeah, so we should be able to see our admin area. So we say /admin, then I'll put in my password. Yeah, so basically these are all the features we have right now, even before we write any line of code. Yeah, before we even start. Yeah, so basically in a nutshell, this is how you set up for a Python project. Yeah, we were just setting up things. Actually, we didn't dive into any nitty-gritties, blah blah blah, but now that we have set up the file, now that we have set up the project, and at least we have some footing here and there, I think we're in a good place to write some code and see how things are, and see how things come up. Yeah, so on Monday we should be able to start with this polls app. But if you can't wait for me to start this polls app, you can just go ahead and try to venture yourself you can just try to venture yourself, because the link is there, and there is also a very good MDN tutorial on Django, MDN Django here. I think they're still using Python 2 point something, but usually I mean Django, but they really these versions never, the upgrades never break so much. You'll be able to follow along. Yeah, but by Monday I think we should on Monday we should be done with this polls app. It will bring up a lot of concepts that will be core to our understanding of the framework. Yeah, and after we have learned how to use Django, we shall also work with the Django REST framework. We should also try to Google around and see how it works. Django REST framework. Yeah, to kind of like generate the APIs. Yeah, generate secure APIs, of course. Yeah, so after this, then you'll be able to attach your React or your Vue front end, and you start making the magic happen. Yeah, but for now I think my time is up, unless you have any questions. But I'm very happy today. The attendance was a full house. It was a full house. Yeah, but yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know, or you have something you haven't understood in this Django setup, because I really tried to do my best before time would kind of like catch us up. Yeah, do you have any questions so far? How has the session been? Was the speed okay? Did I lose some people? Afasha, you have been on and off. Is electricity finally back? Afasha, are you there? Okay, seems like no one is answering. Afasha says it was okay. But our power has now gone back. Maybe Rachel is asking whether the class was recorded. Yes. Maureen is saying there is a lot of boilerplate stuff I don't understand in Django. Yeah, uh, I would say it is a lot. Also me in the beginning it was a little bit hard to understand, but with repetition, with repetition, yeah, things will come up. Things will become uh, things will become normal. Yeah, but basically this setup it's only once. But one thing that is very good with Django, if you are doing a very big project, everything will be very very organized, as in it will be you will know where to find what. Yeah, which is kind of like a strong suit, as in there is some kind of like order that is followed. You'll know where everything is. Yeah, with Flask you can actually have you can have the whole app in one module. Yeah, but if at all the app is gets on going very big, yeah, you might have to restructure some things around. And also with Django, even when you're working in teams, because everyone will know where to find what, so things will be a little bit easier. Yeah, but yeah, the best way is to do some repetition. And when you kind of like try to get the distinctions between projects and apps, yeah, because yeah, at some point in the beginning you might have some issues differentiating the two, because you may find that you may, in your thinking, you may think a project and an app are the same. Yeah, but when you get to find the way Django is defining them, whereby project is the big thing, and apps, they are the small things you can. They're kind of like, each app kind of like represents some specific features that are working all together to make that feature work. Yeah, but we shall see all those as time goes on. Yeah, I'm very happy today. It has been a full house. Hope it's always like this. For the video, let me upload it in the next 20 or so minutes. Once it's done on YouTube, I'll share the link. Yeah, but if you don't have any other questions, let me stay on for the next 2 minutes if you have any questions. But if you don't have any question, then you are free to leave the chat room at will. Yeah.